Hello class, my name is Ken Rosenthal. This week for my presentation I'm discussing Internet Protocol v6 or IPv6 and what makes it better than the previous Internet Protocol v4 or Internet Protocol version 4. Before I begin my arguments, I will briefly describe what IPv6 is and why it exists. Internet Protocol version 6 is the latest revision of the Internet Protocol, which is the communications protocol that provides location and identification system for computers and any device that can be able to connect and communicate over the internet. Reason why it exists is the current platform, Internet Protocol version 4, officially ran out of its 4.3 billion available IP addresses back in February 2011. And quite honestly, it's the future mode of addressing and on the internet for the immediate and distant future. You may be wondering how this information is going to affect you in your career. Chances are you're in an IT class, you're going to be working in some form of IT, whether it's network security, network engineering, or network support. Or you're going to be working in a career developing hardware, software, or any other kind of device that may interact with the internet in some way, shape, or form. And also, more exposure to it now will help when it's when IPv6 is the widely used protocols for any device that connects and communicates over the internet, such as if you have to do troubleshooting or work with, say, an internet service provider either at home or at work. Advantages of IPv6 over Internet Protocol version 4. With Internet Protocol version 6, there is a much larger available address space. We're talking 3.4 times 10 to the 38th power available addresses under IPv6 versus roughly 4.3 billion under IPv4. As you can tell by my graph here from Google, the number of internet connected devices is going to reach 20 billion or so by 2016. The number of internet users is going to reach over 5 billion by 2016. And with IPv4, there just isn't enough available IP addresses. So an alternative needed to be developed, and IPv6 is it. Also, with IPv6, there is the ability for larger subnets. With IPv6, there is the ability to create 2 to the 64th power addresses for all available IPv6 subnets versus 2 to the 32nd power addresses within an IPv4 environment. Also, there is a larger overall IP address length with Internet Protocol version 6. IPv6 has an IP address length of 128 bits versus only 32-bit for IPv4. Addresses under IPv6 are broken down into 8 segments, and they decided to go with hexadecimal notation, hence the letters and numbers, and each segment is divided by a colon versus a regular decimal notation, 0 to 255 for IPv4, each segment divided by a period. What also makes IPv6 a little easier to create notation for over IPv4 is if you have multiple segments of zeros within an IPv6 IP address, you can omit them all by placing the double colon symbol between where the first set of zeros would be and the last set of zeros would be, which makes the notation a little bit easier to use. In conclusion, switching over to using IPv6 allows for almost unlimited growth for the internet and networks by allowing more and more devices to be able to connect to it and communicate across the internet, which also, IPv6 allows for the creation of networks twice the size of what you could using Internet Protocol version 4. Also, IPv6 is more secure than IPv4, largely in part by the fact that the IP addresses are 128 bits versus only 32 bits. Also, there are more security features built into Internet Protocol version 6 than there are Internet Protocol version 4. This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and post them within the class forums or within my learning group within the learning team forums. Thank you for your time. Have a good afternoon. Bye.